to jump. But we're in an area that has not been able to break a lot of areas that it needs to break to really jump. Right? So we're getting definitely some mixed vibes going on today. See how we have the double bottom pushed into a double top, came us back into our neckline. We didn't even make it to the neckline. I mean, that's very bullish. It's not very bearish, right? But it's got to break 623 or we're going to revert really hard. So look at the 15-second trap. I mean, shoot. He was trying to tell us something here, guys. Pretty crazy. So we'll give it a little bit here. Let some more people come in. Good old Fridays. I'm going to delete these lines here. So we're still also internal, right? See this? Remember the big candle we had? We're still internal here. Now, if you guys recall, the last couple of opens we've kind of did a little like sweep smack and then we just dumped, right? So I would be really careful with longs up here, guys. For sure, as long as I stay below these highs in this prior daily high, no chance I would take a long up here. So let's see what Neo's saying. He wants 607. Yeah, be careful on these because I gotta look at it. I need to make sure he understands the daily high. I don't think I have that in his logic. So, but you don't want to take anything that's going into that prior day high because we could explode through it. I mean, the bullishness and the bearish things that it's invalidating is for sure more bullish than bearish, right? But these things, if we stay anywhere below those, you could get a pretty deep sweep, right? But the pressure is still pretty northern, so we'll see how it rolls. Okay, we got everything going. Yep, all looks good. All right, morning. What time is it? 9:20. Okay, we can kind of get jumping on here, guys. First, happy Friday. All right, welcome. Fridays are crazy, guys, so be careful. If you've had a great week this week so far, don't ruin it by pushing too hard on a Friday, right? Because Fridays can get a little wild. So when we're looking at this, guys, this overall structure, I'm going to mute the indicators here. At the end of the day, guys, this is what I want to caution you on, right? As we kind of come into open here. I got to see how open handles this because it can change everything. But if you look at this, right, we have a deep high there, and there. And we just hit it and respected it. Now, we smacked that and we came down, though, and we retested these highs and then bounced again. Usually more of a show of strength, right? Which would likely try to push us through. But my concern, and I won't know till open hits, right? We have a pretty deep sweep here with a nice little double top, breakdown, and that is our neckline that we continue to tap, right? So as long as we keep tapping that, unless we get a good clean breach through it, it increases the probability, right, of us actually having more of a down pull. Now, if we breach through this, guys, it's just going to be a really bullish day. I would be really careful shorting anything above 623 until we get back below 623. So I would just be really careful shorting anything in there. So, but this is, and if we don't get above that 623, right, too deep, then, overall structure-wise, right, this 541 we were talking about has really fast moves within. See how quickly these move? And so if we can break 541, it's just going to be just an absolute tear. So be really careful, because if we market open here in 7 minutes and we get a sweep up that cannot breach this high, then it pulls down and we reclaim that low. That fall usually is going to be pretty nasty, right? And so, but we are trying to push. Just want to look at something quickly here. During our pre-market, guys, we were doing a lot of testing. I got mixed feelings on it, right? Mostly, I'm going to probably look for more shorts, but I will not be short if I'm above 623. I probably would let it just go for a bit. I'm not too interested in going long deeply up here, although, guys, I've been one that's been saying this for some time, that I think we're going to get up here. But, you know, I've had a really good week. I've had my payouts. You know, got my fundeds where I want them to be. I don't really have to swing, right? So if I breach above here, I'm not really interested in chasing something that I don't know how high it's going to go, right? For me, I would probably wait for it to establish something if we get up here, and then get that breakdown, and then take it, you know, on the reclaim back down, right? You know, for the Friday pump and dump. That's probably more likely my plan. The fact pre-market's pushing like it is pretty interesting, though. But I will say, again, I always caution this on Fridays regardless, right? But you're going to want to definitely be careful, because of the fact that we saw so many bull traps, and then we saw actually so many bear traps that were set, right? See how we're getting the rejection off that 623, guys. Now we have 5 minutes to open, so a little rejection doesn't surprise me, but these are critical areas. This 623 and this 541 are going to be absolutely critical today, guys. So just be careful. So volume, I would keep it a little lower. One, because it's Friday. Two, because like I said, it's interesting, because usually, you guys know, when I come into open, I'll look and I'll go, hey, you know, we're gonna drop, we're pretty bearish, we're this, or we're bullish, or all that. Yeah, and you know, but there's just as many bullish things that are invalidating as there is bearish things that are invalidating, right? And so, to me, that tells me they're kind of shaken out, right? So we can take some things like this and just kind of measure a trend line. If you are one that is fine with cutting wicks, you could do something like that. It's fine as well. You know, I like to take more of a safer play with it, you know, something like that. But if you like to do the trend lines, but yeah, we'll have to watch and see how the candle progressions look, and then kind of make a decision, right, of you know, what we want to do with it. So, but I have a feeling we have a pre-market push, but we kind of had a kill zone, you know, kind of steady across. We have a crazy push, then it kind of pulled. Then our pre-market was up, right? Usually when pre-market's up, it likes to open down. But the last few days, pretty much most this week, if you guys remember, we've kind of like swept and then dropped pretty heavily, right, before we reclaimed. And so everybody likes to call Fridays pump and dump, but in perspective, it's a pump and dump, but it's also a dump and pump, right? Possibility. So let's wait and see here what we got for open. But yeah, it's going to be a tricky day, guys. So just be patient on your entries. Keep your volume a little lower. I recommend doing kind of defensive style positioning. If you don't know what that is, let me know. I can kind of guide you through that. But it's usually just lowering your volume a little bit, right? Is all it is. So that way you have room to add some volume. So I'll tell you right now, for me, this is just my plan. If market opens and we just absolutely shoot north, I am not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I will wait for a pullback, some kind of structure, something, right? Either I'm going to take that sweep back below 623 on that short play, or I need to see it push, pull, settle, and then I'll decide. I will not take any shorts, guys, above 623. If it stays above there, you know, in a short fashion like that, I just won't take it, right? I'll just wait. But always want to study, right? But like I said, a lot of bullish things were invalidating earlier. Now they're more validating than the bearish. And the bearish things are invalidating, right? So we have to kind of see where we are. So we did finally break that 623. So let's see if anything goes from there. So uh, 623, 13. Yeah. So let's see, guys. 1 minute. Let's zoom in and let's just study these candles for a second, right? I'm gonna have Neo muted for a little bit. If you guys want to watch him, you guys can click on that to do so. But let's see which way this open candle takes us. So we just swept 623. I would imagine if there's a lot of people taking shorts, they probably have a stop loss there. So it wouldn't surprise me if we do end up dropping on open. But let's see. We got 30 seconds. Let's see what she wants to do. There's the push north on open. Let's see if we sustain or we pull. So watch that 623. Any kind of pull on 623 is going to be a pretty decent sweep south. So we're going to lose that high if we do. Okay, so we hit the high. Getting some pressure. See how it's trying to hold that 623? There's a push. Let's see how high she wants to push before she pulls. Okay, so we push right up into our prior high. That's going to be big, guys, right? Anything up in here, we want to see, do we get any kind of rejections or do we just keep going, right? So we're getting deep push. Now remember, market open loves to do a swing high, swing low. So we want to watch for the strength, watch for the DOM. Still pushing. See that sweep low, right? Didn't go very low. So that's very telling. So we just shattered through our all-time high. So let's see if we get any kind of retrace. Pump and dump in effect. Let's see. Looking for any kind of weakness here, guys. See what our traps do. The traps ended up playing out good on that long. I was a little skeptical about it. It shattered through all that. Crazy. Dun, dun, dun. Remember, on open, you want to be really careful, right? We can just go forever, right? I mean, because there's really not a lot stopping us. But we got to be really careful because we know market open loves to do sweep high, sweep low, right? So we got to be very, very careful in this here, guys. Starting to get some pull. You see the DOM? The bulls are losing some steam. So I'd imagine at least a halfway pullback would be coming. Let's see how deep it wants to go. Because how deep this goes matters, guys. Ended up in a hammer. Close above, we're going to get further expansion. Close below, right? We'll get that deeper pull. Bulls are coming in. Very dangerous to chase these highs like this, guys. Very dangerous. Just let's see if we get any kind of settle. Even if you're wanting to take these longs within there, right? You want to have some kind of pullback doji close above, because we don't know how high this can go. And you guys have seen this in open, right? Where we can get these deep pushes and then all of a sudden out of nowhere we sweep it. So we got to look for weakness. But for me, if I'm going to take something like this on open, I don't like to just jump in, right? Because at any point we can sweep, and that sweep could be really fast and hard. So let's just be patient for a second. Want to see if there's any kind of dojis. We have a high here, so that's critical. Any kind of doji close back in that high will give us our signal that we're going to get the pullback. There's just nothing up here, guys, to tell us when or if we'll even stop. There's just nothing. So
yeah, I've got nothing up here at
there's
all.
Nothing. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing to tell us that.
Now, did Neo call at 828? Am I looking at that right?
He's going to call, remember, there's nothing up here for Neo to even see, right? So he's going to call numbers that are through calculations or things that, things that we allow him to call, if you will, right? And so
yeah, wouldn't it be cool if it played through?
Yeah, wouldn't it?
I'd be like, go home, Neo, you're drunk.
Right? So be careful of the pullback, guys. Watch for the weakness. Any kind of signs here. So you guys know, for me, I'll usually guide you through top and bottom tie trading and continuation. But continuation up here is just so dangerous. I mean, yeah, it could go to the moon and you can be like, dang, you said not to do it, so I didn't do it, but I was going to go long. Ain't nobody knows where this is going, guys. We're in all-time highs, la land. So for me, I like to see these pulls. I want to see a rear back, and then I'll take the other pull, right? Anything short of that, we don't know. Nobody knows. So let's see. We're starting to stall out a little bit. I'm watching the DOM too, and the buyers, even as extended as we are up here, man, they're still just cranking. You see those drops and jumps? Let's see. So we're dojiing. Any close below there, right, would give us our halfway pull. For me, if I'm going to take a long, that's what I want to do, right? If you want to take, short scalps, we're far enough away from here that you could do it. If you do the 24 tick thing that I do. Starting to lose a little steam. You guys see that? So let's see. So it's losing steam, but notice how we're not really getting any good clean closes yet, right? Want to close below there, and then we should pull to here, which would be a push halfway reclaim. The prior high is going to be a big one to watch, so I'm just going to kind of mark that, which is somewhere around there. I'm just going to kind of
Dude, I really freaking hate TradeAway.
Yeah, be careful on that for sure. So this is where I'm thinking, right, at some point when we do decide to break down, right, this will be our pullback retest, will be in that area. So let's see if we get any sweep. Remember, the market hates round numbers, so we're right at that 750. Let's see if we reject off that. Some kind of take profit or so, I would imagine, will happen here soon. So, got our hammer, close below, we're going down, close above, we're going up, right? The 1 minute, we're starting to form a possible inverted hammer, right, in the next 7 seconds. And then that next candle is going to be really big. The 5 minute, we're just absolutely parabolic on it. So there's no sign of weakness yet in the 5. We just don't know where we're going to stall, right? We have to look at the candle progressions. You can see we have a high-low, right? So this would be kind of our breach area there. We get a close below there, right? We're going to sweep that hard. It's still so crazy just how much they're still dom jumping this. Still creating hammers. So that was a little bit of absorption. So we breached that 50, right? But again, any kind of retracement, I need it to get back down here. Right, I need this to close below there. Anything short of that, we're just still going. This is crazy, guys. Remember what I was saying earlier in the pre-market? There's no telling how high this can go. So you're welcome to take these as you like, but there's no telling where this ceiling is going to be. We're up in La La Land up here. Just climbing. Still has no real weakness yet. This is where you want to be really patient, guys. We need to see any kind of weakness in there, because right now there ain't none. So we're coming up on that 800.
About 4 minutes until the ORB is set.
Yeah.
It's only about 180 point spread, not a big deal.
Oh, it's, remember, and guys, I told you when we did the pre-market, I was like, I don't know about today. So I don't know about today, because it's gonna be crazy. Just kind of looking at something here. So we're starting to get our weakness finally. I just want to see. So as we're breaking down here, guys, 723 I think is still going to be what we're going to retest, right, at some point here. So we're finally getting a little bit of weakness, right, within. We got a little top out. To retest these tops is pretty likely. Now, if those tops end up breaking, that's going to be our drop, right? Then we're going down. So I'm just kind of watching here. So right now it's just kind of a pullback, but it hasn't really broken down like I would have liked. We got to get back below those tops, guys. It's just fascinating the strength that this thing has right now. It's so crazy. Insane. This is big, guys, because if we double tap up here, that sweep's going to come hard. Could end up being a little bit of a bull trap, y'all. So be really careful here. This double top here should have enough to breach this top here, if we can get the close. Let's see. This might be the pullback finally. This is huge for me because not only that, but right, we have a little bit of a shoulder, possible head, which would give us a shoulder, which would sweep us back to there, right? If this invalidates, if we just go absolutely parabolic, guys, who knows where we're going today. It's going to be so crazy bullish. So let's see. The fact that this didn't, drop there doesn't surprise me right away because, a lot of times if we do a fail, we'll get an absorption there, but this has got to drop on this one. Otherwise, the bears are not nearly as strong as the bulls are letting them think. Let's see. As high as we are up in the range, guys, I would like to see some kind of pullback, like I said. If you want to go long still, because you like to kind of chase these continuations, I would recommend, a bounce off 723 for scalps. But if you get below that level, right, it could drop pretty hard. So we know how market open tends to work, right? It likes to push one way and then push really hard the other way, right? So finally getting a little bit of weakness. Notice how we're getting that weakness, guys, right below 800. That usually tends to happen. Let's see. I want to check something right quick. Getting a little bit of a push. So yeah, we're almost, this right here, guys, we closed below. That should have floored. If anything, it's tried to set up more of a bull flag. This is crazy, up as high as it's doing it. A lot of indecision on the one, though, so. The pressure that this thing has north is crazy. It's funny, guys. Isn't it funny how in the mornings when I do the pre-market, I always tell you guys, like, I don't know, today's going to be a little crazy, right? And it tends to end up a little crazy, more times than not. So we're getting another full breakdown. Let's see if this one actually collapses the low this time. Ooh, look at that.
Thank God I got out of that. Holy shit.
Jeez. I wonder if that's going to be a sweep and then drop, though.
Neo is pretty confident there, saying no short entries.
Yeah. I mean, the pressure that we're getting is just insane, guys.
I think these guys are smoking crack today.
Yeah. Now be careful, guys. Remember that 800 usually when they do a crazy sweep, if that loses it and comes down, that'll be the drop, right? But if we stay above these highs, going again. So this, where this comes back at is huge, guys, huge. Because if it drops too much, right, then that was basically just a stop hunt. Let's see. So right now we're halfway rear back, right?
It happened so fast. It felt like a
Stop hunt?
yeah, like I needed
Yeah.
recalibration. Like I've been
It's hard to
punched
say.
in the face.
The only way you can really determine if it was a stop hunt, right, or are we actually going back up is depending how we handle it, right? So remember when we get these bursts, if we close back above that, it's just going. It was just a pressure wick, right? But if we push here and we lose this and sweep that low, it's going to drop hard because then it truly becomes a stop hunt, right? But let's watch and see because the pressure is still just crazy. So I want to see how it really holds on this 800 range because remember we've done this at 500, 600, 700, and then now we're at 800, right? Every time it hits these round numbers, we tend to get a little rear back. So, and we know pump and dump, right, on the Friday, right? Like we talked about, is always a a definite thing. So let's see if we lose this level. A test back to here would make more sense to me, right? To gain strength. But we have a little minute trend line, right, you can look at right there. Kind of guide you as to when that may or may not break. Did not disappoint so far, though, as far as the craziness that the morning looked like. I'm just looking to see, is there any kind of weakness, right? I don't really see it yet, right? Right now it's just all rear back, right? We still have these wicks, but man, look at those little pushes. Crazy. That's big, right? See, we had another explosive move, but it couldn't get higher than the other explosive move. So let's see where this goes. Buyers are yeah, buyers are definitely trying to come in, though.
Supposed to direct. This is a bunch of shit.
You shouldn't be trading this, man.
Oh, I'm not.
Okay. The way you said that, I was like...
I took a short into a fair value gap. I'm up like 382 in one account and 290 in another one. And I'm like, I think I'm probably going to be done for the day until it calms down.
Oh, yeah. If you're green pretty well, at least be done for a little bit, right? Even if you're not done for the day, right? Just for a little bit. But I don't mind taking trades up here. For me, you know, if you take them short, but just you're going to have to do it in a way that gives you a little wiggle room, right? Because this is insane how much pressure we got going on here, guys.
Yeah, this doesn't even make sense.
Well, I mean, it makes sense from a blow off top that I had suspicion that we would continue, but it definitely... The part I like to see, guys, is more like, show me that we can come back, you know, a little bit even, right? Because when we just do these like drop, you know, jump, it's so hard to, you know, because if you are up in a, or you're down in a range where we can monitor, you know, high, low, high time frame kind of stuff, right? That's one thing. But we're not in that, right? We're in the middle of freaking nowhere and all-time highs. There's just no way to know when this thing's going to hit a ceiling and come back. There's just no way to know that, you know? And that's what becomes more so the issue, right?
Are we in macro right now?
I don't really look at that much, but
I don't either.
yeah, don't. I mean, not that it's not important, but just I feel like, again, you know, when you're way up here, you just have to, you got to just stick to the candles, right? What the candles are doing. So, because if you're up here, right, we don't really know where the ceiling is. At any point, guys, this could absolutely just train wreck floor, right? We don't know where that's going to be. So all we can do is we can look for any kind of signs or potential weakness, right? We're not really getting that yet. You know, we're still getting a lot of jumps. But I know Fridays are not going to go forever. They don't typically. They typically will find some form of top and then break down. And again, guys, like, you know, if this was a normal instance kind of thing, I would be all about it going, hey, guys, you know, let's take this long to here or this short to here. You know, I'd be the first to jump on that train, right? But we have no ceiling. You know, if we knew this was a high time frame resistance or like a session high or some kind of trend line or just something, right? Then I'd just be like, you know, let's just take this sucker up to here, right? But we don't know. It's not It's just, there's nothing up here, guys. We don't know. At some point, right, what I do know for sure is that the market loves to retest, right, prior critical levels. And 723 is a pretty critical level. So at some point, we're going to retest that, right? So really all you can do is you can kind of utilize trend lines. We can watch candle progression, see if we get any kind of closes. We need to lose these highs, right? We need to close below those highs, things like that. But yeah, as far as this, guys, I'd rather just, unless you're laddering of some sort, south to kind of for those that I taught that, right? Because, to play the pullback, right? Taking longs up here is dangerous. Although, look, it's dangerous as hell, but Neo's got balls of steel. Look at this. He's been nothing but long. Nothing but long. No shorts all the way. And all of these would have played out, but man, this is why I'm excited, guys, for him to start trading, because this is why AI is going to just absolutely dominate. Because when you think about it, right, with the AI, there's no emotion. They don't sit here and get worried about it, right? They're not going to sit there and say, well, I wouldn't trade this, or I wouldn't do this up here, or wouldn't do that up there, right? They don't typically look at it that way because they don't care. There's no emotions, right? They just trade what they see. So, really cool to see him doing that, right? But we're just in an absolute tear north. So, we just don't know where there's a ceiling. It's going to hit a ceiling at some point. It has to. It always will. But like I mentioned when I first sat down and started trading this, y'all, I have very little to no interest in trading that when it does this. Some of you guys I know are a little more risky on those evals or whatever. If you guys have been riding these, anybody taking these long scalps? If it's within your plan, right, and in your range, then go for it. But to me, being a Friday, no thank you. I'm not interested. So I'm just going to kind of hang out for a second and see if I get any kind of weakness on this dang thing. Which, as of right now, we do not have, guys. It's crazy because you could see the pressure is really strong, but do you guys see the DOM? Like the bears are trying to come in. They're not completely gone. Right, they're definitely trying. Look at something. There's just no telling how high this thing wants to go. No weakness yet, guys. Let's see how it treats 900. Getting a little bit of trade of 8 lag, so careful. This is insane. This is definitely a Friday pump and dump in effect here. Holy cow. So let's see how 900 reacts, because we know, again, the round numbers. Because we have a gap fill all the way down at 646. I need to see something on my micro, though, giving me some kind of sign. But Neo's still going crazy. He's like, I'm in this long. Can you imagine, like, if he's in here trading? Like, man, he would have just been absolutely scalping all of this. Crazy. But, again, if I have something above that I can gauge, then I'm okay with it, right? But I know all too well that at some point, especially on Fridays, this thing's going to sweep.
That 5 minutes looks like it's forming a finger.
Oh yeah, he was about to give the old Friday middle finger. Yeah, you got the knuckle. Good point. Oh yeah, this thing's about to just floor to create that finger here in a second. Isn't it funny how that pattern works? I just want to see some weakness, something. So the first sign of weakness, right, is going to be something like this. Get a close below there. Sweep into that high. Give me a sweep below that high. Something like that's going to absolutely pull hard, right, into Lisma. Because when you get very bullish like this, guys, you got to find that first sign of weakness. It's not going to last forever, as much as I know many people want it to. And this is where a lot of continuation traders, right, get caught because they're going to over trade this. And they're going to get absolutely destroyed in the sweep once it comes. See how we're bouncing on this high right there? This is a critical spot, guys. This bouncing there is normal. This bouncing and exploding, you know, we're going for a higher high, right? But the fact that we just rejected right at 900, like damn near to the T, huh? Yeah, 900. We literally hit 900 exactly and rejected. So that rejection, because of what it was, should be enough to sweep this high, right? Pretty easily. So, but if it don't and it just goes up, guys, shit, we're going to 28, like I've been saying for a while. Let's see where this rear back goes, right? Just watching the dawn. What a wild Friday. Yeah, the 723 is what I think we'll retest at some point, Brent. That's what I've mostly been watching. What I would love to see, guys, would be this hammer to fail, right? Give me a close below, that'll sweep with that close, and then that's going to dump all the way back there really fast. So this bouncing here is normal because of this prior high. This failing right there is a lower high, right? So now we have the hammer, I want the close below, right? Close above, ain't done. I'm just trying to watch the DOM, guys. See here, it's tough because see the bears are coming in. You see those drops? Before they were getting absorbed. I don't see them getting absorbed yet. Slow pressure north. No pressure north. Not jumping though. Yellow pressure south. I want to see this hammer fail, because this hammer getting a close above there, guys, is going to just be so big on the push. But let's see what we got here on our trap. Nothing there. Nothing there yet.
Got an IFBG on the 5 minute that's acting as support.
Yeah. We have a little minute trend line we can kind of see if it's going to respect. Something like that, right? But mostly up here I'm watching the DOM because I want to see the order flow, right? Are the buyers getting weak? Are they getting tired? Usually you get exhaustion up here, right? And so, but they're still, the pressure is still there, but they're not really jumping like they were, right? Before we were getting some pretty crazy jumps. But we're not really getting drops either, so let's see. I want to see if it can even just withstand holding a simple trend line, right? So we tap that high again and we rejected. Little DOM drop, you see that? Isn't it funny, guys, in the mentor group when we were doing pre-market, every time I say that, where I'm like, this is going to be a little bit of a tricky day. It tends to be a tricky day, right? It's funny how you can kind of tell so much just from the pre-market. See another DOM drop. I don't know. We're not jumping as much as we were. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you see where it's like going up, 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 and then we're getting that drop. Unless they kick in, you know, like they did earlier, the bears are starting to, I think, slowly take over control, but let's see. We're not reversal, right, unless we break through this top. Really, we just need to get through Lisma at this point, where it is. For us to be more reversal type. So let's see. I would love to see this, like I said, break down through here, because that would pull us back to the RB. I also want to see the macro, right? I want to see that break down as well. So we gotta be really patient for this, guys. Because it don't matter how much we dance here, right? As long as we stay above here, right, we run the risk of jumping again. I want to see when Neo decides to switch over. He hasn't put an update out in a little bit. Guys, when it's web-based, if you don't see his update, you always just want to refresh. Yeah, it looks like he is.
Hello, I'm Neo. Let's capture the move.
So what ends up happening is, because I'm on TradingView and I have this in the background, it's a website thing, right? When it's in the background, eventually it'll idle out and you might have to reset it. But if you have him on a screen where he's up front like that, then it's not a problem. But because I was asking Alex, I was like, man, how come sometimes when I'm trading I look over and either he didn't update or he'll even go to sleep, right? And he said that it's because I'm on TradingView with him in the background, right? It's a web. There's nothing we can do about that because it's all web based. Let's see how it treats 900 again. See how it's just not showing any signs of weakness. It's just insane. It's a big candle here, guys. If it just explodes through here, because we're probably going to 28. But it's a long way down. Look at this, just bursting through. So Neo wants a short if we break below 1 minute Lisma. That's his first short he's thrown right here. Oh, see, he cut off his longs. I love that. He cut off his longs. That tells you something, guys. When he starts cutting off something, right, and he opens up to both, right, now he's got both in there. You know, he's seeing something as an option. So I'd be really interested to see if we do get a deep pullback here, now that he's opened up to that. So you guys know I love Lisma, right? And if we can breach weight close below, man, it's a long way down, guys. Again, we're just absolutely up in the stratosphere. So let's look at structure for weakness, right? So we do have a push, a pull, right on the prior high. That ended up compressing. We broke out, created a high. Couldn't hold the prior high. It's the first prior high, I think. Actually, right here, we lost it a little bit too, that we haven't held, right? So when we come down now, if we can breach Lisma in that prior low, that's going to have enough steam to break this high. Pretty high probability, right? But let's see if we can even get through Lisma on that. I have a feeling if it does, it's going to be probably pretty fast. Now, if they want to keep sending it up, right, you know, to do a quick sweep and then a push would wipe so many stop losses, right, that are trailing. So he wants to close above 900 pretty much before he goes long again. He don't like shorts right now again. Now these shorts back here are still in play, you know, even though he says none on there. Right, we still want to look for that sweep wick there. Let's see if we get it. So to me, if we break this low, this is our first sign of weakness, and we're almost kind of double topping. Right, see how it's an early read on a double top if we get that full breakdown there. And that should pull us back down to there. It's our first breach of Lisma. I don't know, guys. It's weird because it, to me, it looks like it's showing some weakness, but then it starts to show some strength. But we're definitely starting to show a little weakness. I would love for the macro to support it, right? Give me a doji or something. We're still getting little hammers here, and we haven't closed below it, right? But I'm definitely seeing a little weakness. We would pretty much be certain that this downtrend is a pretty good divergence. But let's see. Those who remember, right, on the call for years, right, usually when we get into these crazy things, right, like this, right around like just before 11 or 11, we get those crazy reversals. Remember? Every time we're like, all right, let's end the call, and then all of a sudden, bam, we just floor. It was insane how much that actually happened like that.
Yeah, right around the 10:30 mark.
Yeah, it almost like clockwork. It was crazy. So we're getting that breakdown. Remember on Lisma, guys, it's going to be big because this is our breach here. Close right there, right? Should really floor us there. We're finally getting the doji on the 5, which is what I've been wanting the whole time. The only level that's going to hold us here is going to be this 57. If we get a close below that, it's going to be a quick move. You see how we're not, I mean, we'll see if anything changes, but we're not getting those dom jumps anymore. See how we're starting to more bleed? If it don't jump pretty much now, so let's watch the dom, right? It's gonna drop hard. So let's watch and see if we get any kind of buys coming in. Yeah, this level here, guys, 56, 57 is gonna be critical. So a little bit of buy coming in. This is going to be big for me, I'm going to be honest with y'all, like on whether or not I do any more trading, because if we get a push like this, right, $300 direct, shattering all-time highs like they're nothing, and then we form a double top on a clean break of Lisma with a close below with bearish divergence, and we still shoot up more, I got no interest in trading that on a Friday. And so right now it's just bouncing, right? So we have this to here. A halfway pull would be somewhere here. It shouldn't really get too much more above 890 if it wants to stay weaker, right, and drop. If we just shatter through that, we just are not done, guys. Any kind of halfway pull, which would be somewhere about here, right, is normal, right? But I want to see the bears kind of kick in a little bit at that point. We did set the doji, so that's huge, guys. If we close below 858, right, on the body on the macro, now macro will support the pullback. But if we close above 895, right, macro supporting a push. So that's a big doji. So we're still getting some dom drops. You see those? Let's see if they get absorbed. We've met our halfway, right? So now if it wants to go down, we can go back down for a lower low. But if it wants to reclaim this, it can jump too. Let's see. Still some pressure. I had a pretty solid feeling it was going to be a little bit of a wild day today. So far that's playing out pretty good. Man, look at this, just pressure.
This is insane, dude.
Yeah, I mean, we could get a triple top here, right? Because now we are below Lisma. Now, if we just shatter through Lisma, y'all, like, I don't know. I might just call it for the Friday because I just have no interest in getting crazy up in this area. So let's see. As of right now, we're just a retest of the prior high, right? Didn't have as much strength as I would have liked. You know, this bounce is normal because we bounced on an area here, right? So that's normal. The reclaim of that is normal. You know, for us to reclaim that so easily, not so normal. Right, not for a drop. So let's see if we measure this. Now remember, we talked about this a lot too, guys, in the mentor group. Us, you know, with these round numbers, these 900, if we, you know, keep rejecting, and then we get that bearish structure close, those are usually pretty violent. So it's trying to test to see, do we want to, you know, tap that 900 and explode through it and go for 28, or do we want to reject here, right? It's definitely an area that it can reject heavily, but so Neo wants a breakdown below 850, so he don't even, I mean, it's honestly good. Look, he don't even want to short till here. Right. His long, he doesn't want a long until 885. Which, when did he give that? 20? Well, I mean, actually he gave that guidance there. there would be your entry, and that would be your scalp. Again, it played out on a micro level, but balls of steel, shoot, I wouldn't have done that. That's that gray area that I was trying to be very strict with him on things, but then I realized that I need to let him make some decisions. Because I don't want to add things in there too much to overload him and make, him second guess himself, right? If he sees something, I kind of want to let him rip. So I'm going to get with Alex later too. I'm excited. I want to see if how close we are to, doing that, but connecting him to trade. But I think it's going to be probably a good couple weeks, if not, June maybe, before he'll do that. So, but remember guys, we are now below Lisma after a big old push above it. We do have bearish divergence. We do have a doji here. It's showing signs that it should pull down, right? Now, when we get these big pushes, it's not against it to do a sweep and then a pull. So, we could be waiting for something like that, but again, I want to see some kinds of sign of weakness, right? We saw the weakness there. We broke that. We closed below. This closed below there, right? Should have just dumped us, and we didn't. We ended up holding that support, right? Which is what I was worried about. That's why you always want to look left and watch those highs. So, starting to fall a little bit. We have a hammer there. Close above would go up. Close below goes down, right? So, let's see if it starts to act like it should be when it's supposed to go down. Okay, we got the close below, so that should sweep. Any kind of quick jumps, right? Because now how we're pushed halfway, right? If we just jump, it's not ready, right? But it should sweep us back to the low. It's also setting us up in a 1 minute doji close, right? Setting up that weakness as well. But critical area is going to be here. We got to close below that 859. It's going to be critical. Just watching. It's weird because it's showing signs of weakness, but man, the bulls are just trying. See how we get those little minute DOM drops? There's another one. It was kind of small, but let's see. See, then out of nowhere, right? Look, we get those little minute dumb jumps. So let's see if it gets absorbed.
Hitting that trap on the 1 minute.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't even see that. Yeah, so with this, right? So this one right here would have locked there. And so it actually already kind of played out a little. And then now it's coming down to hold it. So makes sense, right? Because if you notice, the lower level of this trap is 858, and if we invalidate that, that's what would give us a pretty deep sweep, probably back to like 795. But if we stay above that, right, it's gonna jump. So that's actually I'm glad that's there. We also have this one here as well, right? So if we breach these levels, then it's gonna drop. But as of right now, yeah. Still showing that trap area up there. But again, these traps, once they close above right there, so that would be your locked in 81, and then we already went up here. So it already went up 17, 18 bucks into a high, right? So it kind of arguably played out. But now I'm going to use it as an inverse, right? Does this triple top and we break below this? Because, when you get nasty pressure up here like this, guys, we need something. Double top, triple top, head and shoulders, something showing people that, okay, we found our top, right? Because there's just not a lot to go on up here. You're only able to look at order flow and candle logic, right? Now we got a doji here with the close of below. That should pull, right? We should get, more of a pull from that. We do have a doji. We didn't get the close above, and we actually got a inverted hammer at the top, right? So now that's going to revalidate even stronger if we get that close below there, right? Which would be 59. But this thing is just being held up. Guys, think about this. Our market open didn't even go down. It just went just straight up without even anything. It's just crazy. A triple top right at that 900 though, man, would be such a great place to pull it. If you guys want the if I do this one, you can kind of give a visual, right, where you just kind of box it in. That's what we want to break out of before you do anything. Change the color for definitely starting to break down. What I'm looking for, because we've tried to break down a few times and all of a sudden out of nowhere we get those jumps, but the fact we're trying to triple top off of 900 with some pretty decent sweep wicks, right? If we get that close below, should come pretty quick. Our macro's starting to get our first red candle since open, right? We haven't had a red candle at all, actually. A close on this body below 59 is what we would need for macro to support the pull. Okay. See that deep pull? This is huge, guys, because this should sweep all the way to here with really little to no bounces, right? If it wants to bounce on something like this, you know, it just got to stay below there, but I just don't see something like that holding that right where we are. So here comes the pull. Pull to 795 is what it should do, right? Now we are body closed below our doji, which if we close in 3 minutes down here in this range, right, now we're macro support. So watch to see what we do. Now we know that this can hold some support, so push back up to here has to be kind of expected, right? Now it shouldn't reclaim it. If that reclaims it, all right, it should not reclaim that, right? Based on where this looks and where we are and the pullback we need, right? So let's see. There's the push, right? That's crazy to me that this. Remember, guys, in the mentor group when I forgot who even said it. I don't know if it was I don't remember who said it, but they're like, "What about the 15-second 200?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't really look at that." And every now and then you get these jumps and you don't know why, right? And that thing acts pretty freaking viable. It's insane. Was it you? Okay, yeah, that's good, man. That was awesome. So this is what we want to see, right? Because we have that. We came up, tested it. This close below is just going to absolutely floor it, right? So we've got 2 minutes left for macro to support it as well. So we're getting our pull. See how we finally see that top, right? And so we got the close there. Mostly what I was looking at on there, guys, was when we hit our top again below our Lisma with the sweeps, we got the doji, the inverted hammer, and the close. Remember I was saying that should pull us, right? Now, this is going to be interesting to me because when we get this breach and we get that close below, which we arguably got it, that should drop, guys, at least to 23. We shouldn't reclaim this. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see how the Bears, handle that. Okay. So, yep.
I just want to say that every time these things pump, and you're waiting for that big drop, I always jump in too early, and they always, it's just, this is the easy move now.
Sure.
But that consolidation always goes on longer than you expect.
Yep.
You really got to, this is major right here. If you can exercise patience during this time, you kill it.
Oh, yeah.
I passed a couple of evals, but I blew 3 jumping in too early. And, you pegged it. Like, you're looking for the right stuff, and I'm always like, I got to get in now. I'm going to miss it.
Yeah, it happens, man. That's why you got to...
How easy it is now, right?
Patience is key, guys. Patience is key.
That's it, man. All patience.
We are coming into 795. Also, it's prior highs. This is huge, guys, because remember, we are off the 900 from a clear rejection, right? Coming down. We know that the market loves to be halfway, right? So from this push to about here is halfway. 755 or so, right? But we know that the ORB is right here. So 797 could jump. But if we end up dropping below that 797, then we're going to get our full halfway reclaim somewhere in here. I'm expecting almost a full pull back to 723. So be careful timing your bottoms or trying to catch bounces. Could get a little tricky. Now remember, 5 minute, we're internal in the candle till 8:59 pretty much all the way up to the top there. So, but let's see. The ORB is going to give a little bit of support. We don't really have anything here, guys. Look at until here. So see how what I was saying too, once you invalidate, that's another way to look at that trap indicator, guys, is once it invalidates, see that pull? So 723 would be where I think we're going.
Yeah, I put that in the chat, but what's 723? What is that?
It was where we had, I think it was a, where did I have 723? Oh! What was that, guys?
Because I see it touched once and then never again.
Yeah, where did we, hold on. There was a reason we put it. I think it was, I gotta find it. Give me a second though. I'll look at it after. I just gotta watch this for a second. I want to see if we get into that range. But now I'm intrigued because I usually put these only for a specific reason.
My target is like 740, right above 745, because that's the top of the wick of the last red candle that we've had.
A lot of times when I do these white ones, it's for a reason, but it's short term. Yeah, so if you look at the prior top here, it'd be 673. I'm gonna move it to there for now, just so because I'd rather watch that top. I'm trying to remember. I think we put that in the development, or not development, when we were in the mentor group session, but I don't remember why.
Hey guys, I'm bailing out of here. Today's too tough for me. I'll take my $300 in 2 accounts and run.
You should absolutely, guys. Like I said, Fridays are not the day to play, man. If things are, where you need those evals or passing or PAs to get those payouts right, like days like this are not the days to take crazy risks. So the only real accounts that I was doing, I was kind of laddering a little within here. Kind of risky, right? But it ended up playing out, so it's fine. On a couple of the accounts, the real money ones, I did 1,300 on that one, and then like 800 on that one that I was playing with. And so, but the biggest thing, guys, and it's, we're coming up on 1040. There's some lessons in here, right? And this is the biggest lesson that comes to mind for me with this kind of stuff. There's a lot of people out there, I'm sure, whether it's on TikTok or even in here, as this was climbing, going like, why aren't we taking this? Right? Man, this thing just went up $300 and Nick didn't take one trade. Like, what is he, crazy? Right? But I can also make, $2,200 on the two accounts I was doing it with just from waiting for that. I don't have to take that. I don't even care that I missed that. It doesn't bother me. It's against every rule that I stand for. All my rules tell me on market open, when I go parabolic like this in an all-time high area that I don't know where a ceiling is, no chance that I'm doing that. There's just no way. But to your point, Bobby, right? Like, you got to get to where either there's many ways to attack it. I chose to attack it more in a defensive stance, because I knew there's a good probability as we began to get this second leg and we started to, consolidate up here, right? Based on we crossing Lisma, we started to get our first bearish things, right? We closed below our hammers. Candle progression began to look bearish, right? And so that's kind of was my play, and I wanted to play defensively because I don't know how high this thing can go. I have no idea, right? And so I don't want to just sit there and keep taking large trades or singular entries, because we're in literally, a lot of traders love to do the whole, you should have did this. Guys, there's no TA up here. None. There's just nothing. We're in the middle of nowhere, right? My projection is at some point we'll probably get up here. I doubt it's going to be today, unless news really kicks in to make it be today. I would suspect today will probably be more of a push, and then we'll kind of maybe consolidate a little, and then we might get a little bit of a pull, right? Eventually we're going to get to this line. We just will. So it always does, right? I don't know when, right? But don't push your luck on a Friday. It's just not worth it, right? To push your luck on a Friday. So, yeah, like I said, you guys seen how long I had to wait for that stupid thing. But the cool part is, guys, and this is even me, right? As I continue to learn and grow as a trader, is what's more important to me is, did I read it correctly, right? Am I actually reading it correctly? That's the most important thing to me. And the reason that's the most important thing is when you have a crazy push like this with no TA, notice how I was heavily watching the candles and I was watching the order flow, right? I wanted to see, as we're pushing up, are bullish candles validating, are bearish candles validating, right? And we saw it on the micros start to get where it was a little mixed, right? You were getting some of both. What intrigued me here is when we got this hammer here and we got this close above, we got a push, but then we immediately lost it, right? And we went back internal on that hammer. Then we tried to hold the bottom of it again, got another close, but the push was weak, right? Each 1 minute that came across, we were lower and then lower. Into the doji, got the close. That's why when I was kind of here, I'm like, it's kind of showing its first signs of weakness, guys. Because we were. And so now it doesn't mean we're going to go to the floor, right? But there's definitely something to this, right? You kind of got here, we got a triple top, could be arguably ahead, I don't know, but we're pushing, right? Now we can push all the way back up to that low and still come back down on that. So we want to kind of watch that and look at the indicators through it. But that's I'll tell you guys, I'd love to hear from you guys, but that's probably arguably one of the more nerve-wracking things as a trader, is to try to time a top or a bottom when that top and that bottom just looks like it has no reprieve, like it's just going, right? It's so scary to kind of to time that, right? Because I mean, look at that, guys. We had market open just go absolutely ballistic, you know, dang near non-stop, right? And we had to kind of wait for that breakdown. So, but guys, we have 10:45. I don't mind going to the development session today, but I cannot trade past 12. I have to take my wife to her MRI. Most of you guys don't know she was in a, or most of you know, but some of you don't know. She was in an accident, so she's got to get her MRI on her back again, and so I got to take her up there. So it's being it's Friday, guys. I don't like to trade past 12, anyways. Being where this market is, I'm not really too keen on taking too much more, but I'm down to, you know, go into the development side for those that want to join, and maybe get a little bit extra right within there, because we are starting to break down, and there could be something to, you know, the whole Friday pump and dump here, right, where we get the big pump and then we get that big dump, right? So we might be able to get something good if we begin to continue to see the structure fail. Right, so now us getting a retest here is normal. We had a triple top that broke us down off an absolutely monstrous level, 900. Now we're coming down, came back up for us to retest, you know, these prior areas, right, to see if they're now going to be resistance is normal. So, other than that, guys, I'm going to jump into, just for while we got the socials, you know, kind of let everybody know what's going on. I have some cool ideas that I want to talk about briefly. So Neo, as you guys know, I'm mostly done playing with him. I'm gonna let him run for a bit. You know, he's doing what I like. I love, guys, and that whole push that he did, 8:35. Oh, that's only 10 minutes back, yeah, on that. Let me oh, that's 8:35 in the morning. I'm like, whoa, went too far. I forgot Alex gave me a little extra. So if you look, guys, from market open, I want to see when the last time he gave even a short. 9:15. So 9:20 he had none. From 9:25 on until 10:05. So pretty much 40 minutes, right? 40 minutes, he gave nonstop guidance of shorts or longs. And that played out. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, like, I still didn't take him because he's AI, right? He doesn't see things as all-time high or emotions. He just sees the technicals. But the fact that his longs, you know, played out, they had to because we just kept going to the moon, right? Who was it that said, wasn't it you, Andrew? You're like, why is he throwing a target at 850? That'd be crazy if we hit it. And shit, we blew through it. So, a lot of his code, kind of the stuff you guys don't see, right, is to treat all-time highs and stuff like this. He's able to take, you know, some math and, you know, kind of make a best educated, you know, guess from it, because it's really all it is when you're in the middle of nowhere like this, right? But to see him be able to do that is just really cool. And the fact that it hit. Now, what I want to see as you interpret this, he didn't give a short option at all until 10:05. So if we go here, that wasn't until there, guys, that he decided to say, hey, now I'm kind of cool with taking a short. right? And then if you look, he kept doing a short. Here he said none. Here was both. Here he said none. 10:30, which is right before the drop, he wanted a short below 870, right? And we got that. So I'm excited to put his butt on a freaking demo already, man. I want to let this guy just trade because he's and then look at this, no long, he took shorts. And then 10:40, which is 8 minutes ago, he wanted a short, let's see. So 10:40 would be right there, somewhere in here. So he wants a short if we break down a hole below 270. We never got below it, right? 270 is right there. So we never got below. So he wanted a long if we confirm consolidation base above 27.8. And that from there, right, would be there. Push, hold, right? So it's pretty crazy, man. I don't know. It's exciting to see him do so well with those things, right? So, couple quick updates, real quick on Neo. Is he sleeping now? No. If you guys see that and he's earning his hours, just like I said, refresh the page because it could just be like a WebSocket thing.
Let's capture the move.
Yeah, so he's still doing his updates. Remember, because it's all web-based, right? So if you see any kind of like him sleeping or you don't see an update, right, just refresh your page. Sometimes they time out, depending on your browser settings, security, all that. No way around that, according to Alex. Eventually, guys, we're going to create an app for him, and you'll be able to see him on an app, right? And then you'll be good with all that, but not quite yet. See, we're getting another full breakdown, guys.
It's the start of the macro, the first candle of the macro.
Yeah.
I know you don't follow those, but I follow them religiously.
Yeah, it's great. It's not bad. It's not a bad strategy. I just don't. You know me. I want to understand it all, but I stick to certain things that I watch or rules or just to keep the noise out. And that's just because it works for me, right? But if something works for you, man, yeah, by all means, freaking nail it. Get it. Couple things on Neo. We extended his hours again, right? So he is now 6 a.m. to 4 p.m., 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. It leaves us a 4-hour window to kind of let him do his self-analysis. We get to do a little... Alex has some code that he has written that also does analysis on his self-analysis, right? And so we need a little maintenance time. I think 4 hours is more than we need. We had it at 7 a.m., but I know a few people mentioned that they like to get some trades before they go to work, and so we moved it to 6 a.m. If there's any special requests that you want him to be a little earlier or a little later, let me know. I can always ask Alex. I don't mind extending a little because I want to try to accommodate at least the people that are here. But if that hours or time frame works for you, right, then I'll probably leave it. So, yeah. Now, here's the exciting part, guys. Hang around for this, and then we'll jump into the development side. I've been thinking a lot about it, and you guys all know that I want this company to be very beginner friendly, right? Or even intermediate friendly, right? I want you to understand how Neo trades, how he calls stuff, what all this means, including, kind of how I call stuff, right? Because what I call is going to be typically along similar lines to what Neo's calling. And so I was kind of thinking about it, and I've been wanting to put out a training course, right? Similar to the ones that we have here, right? Like this, where you have the whole book and everything, right? Quiz, ebook, all that. I want to do one in the kind of start here that is a very beginner one, right? It's very, here's a candle, here's a chart, this is what Neo does, this is what he talks about, this is what he looks at, here's how to interpret him, things like that. Not super in depth, but enough to get people started, right? Enough to get people to understand what he's even doing, right? And so I have a plan, and I presented it to the mentorship group, and it seems like everybody's on the same page. They all like it. So I'm gonna work really hard, guys, this weekend. I don't have a ton of plans. I think, don't hold me to it, but I think I can get it done before Monday. If I can, someone had a good idea. I think Eric was the one that had this idea toward the mentor in the mentor group. That I originally was just going to put it in the start here and say, hey, here's Neo, welcome to the site, take this class. And it's free. We're not charging you for it at all, ever, for this one. Because I want people to be able to interpret him, and I also want people to have a place to come in and take a course to see if they even like to trade, right? Or if trading's even for them, right? That's a big, it's a big thing to understand, right? If you even like it. And so, I'm gonna get that done. I'm gonna do my best to get it done by Monday. One of the things I like that he suggested, Eric, is in the AI session, the first time people come into this, I'm going to see if Alex can kind of force you all to go through that training course before you can watch Neo. Because I love his point that, and I know this is going to happen, if I just put it here, people are going to log in and go straight to him and then not even look at it. And then I'm still going to get support tickets going, I don't know what he means by this. Can you help me? Right? And so... And it's not going to be extremely extensive like some of the other ones, but it's going to be enough, right, to get you kind of on a good foot, right? But yeah, so that's kind of my plan. I think it's going to help you guys out a lot interpreting him. And anybody that's on TikTok that's new, that's just like, man, I want to get started. I don't even know where to start. That will give you kind of a place to start, right? Somewhere to kind of get your feet wet in it. So, that's my plan, I think, guys. So I'll try to work on getting that out for Monday. Again, few other things to touch on. The mentorship program, guys, again, I reached out to a few more people. The window's kind of tightening. I know some people are still thinking on it. Again, if you're even interested, guys, just let's talk. Message me, email me. Let's have a discussion about it. So nothing set in stone within anything. And there's some things that I do for the mentor group that aren't even listed on here, right? So, we can have a conversation. So, if you're interested in joining in the development program, right? We had our class Wednesday. That is just in there, going to the program. That's where we're going to go here in a second. We'll be in the development session to do some trading. So, but yeah, a lot of cool things. I know Alex is really close to finishing this. Really, really close. Like, I thought he was going to get it this week, but probably, I would assume, unless there's a critical issue I don't know about, I would imagine probably by next week. So, this part's going to be pretty sick too. Aside from that, guys, it's Friday. I strongly encourage you not to overtrade today.
Hello, I'm Neo. Let's capture the move.
Capture the move. Just get him back set. Yeah, Fridays are not the day we want to overtrade at all, right? And so, if you're green, just take it and run. If you're going to the development session, right, we'll look and see if we can get some more bearish plays on this push and pull that we're getting, right? So, but any questions, guys?